Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So glad you made it and were able to join us today. We want to say welcome to each one of you. Thank you for coming out to join us on this fabulous Thursday. We are excited about what we're going to be talking about today, discovering the 6 crucial steps to forgiving someone. Oftentimes in life, someone has hurt us, someone has disappointed us, someone has done something to us to cause us to have setbacks. And a lot of times we actually hold those things in and we never release them. So today we're going to share with you ways that you can actually release them. And we're going to be using the material from The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. So if you don't have that book, I wanted to encourage you to get back with the person that you got this video link from and get their Amazon link and go and order that book and come and join us. We're here Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the recording or replay is always available. Today I have with me my awesome partner, Paula Warfield, not only my partner, but my friend, my accountability partner, my girl. And we are ready to rock this particular topic out. So without further ado, Paula, I'll go ahead and start reading, and then I'll come back in and grab you and have you to jump in with us. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to leave your comments below, questions, comments, etc. Okay, we are on page number 218, and it says, Steps to Forgiving. The following steps are integral to forgiving. 1, acknowledge your anger and resentment. First, you got to acknowledge it. 2, you got to acknowledge the hurt and pain it created. 3, you must acknowledge the fears and self-doubts that it created. 4, own any part you may have played in letting it occur or letting it continue. 5, acknowledge what you were wanting that you didn't get. And then put yourself in the other person's shoes and attempt to understand where he or she was coming from at the time and what needs the person was trying to meet. However, if I can get that word, intelligently, by his or her behavior. Number 6, let go and forgive the person. If you're paying attention, you probably noticed that these steps involve the same 6 stages at the total truth process. That was the letter that we read yesterday. So here you are. You want to make a list. Make a list of anyone you feel has hurt you and how. Hurt me by. So you want to put in there, John Doe hurt me by whatever they did. And so like there's a blank line, and they say hurt me by, and then fill in what they did to you. Then, one by one, taking as many days as you need, go through the total truth process with each person. You can do it as a written process or a verbal process where you pretend you are talking to the person who is sitting in the empty chair across from you. Make sure you take ample time to think about what must have been going on in each person's life at the time to make him or her do whatever they did to you. It is important to remember the following truth. All people, including you, are always doing the best they can to meet their basic needs with the current awareness. Acknowledge knowledge, skill, and tools they have at the time. If they could have done better, they would have done better. As they develop more awareness of how their behavior affects others, as they learn more effective and less harmful ways to meet their needs, they will behave in less harmful ways. Think about it. No parent ever wakes up in the morning and says to his or her mate, I've just figured out 3 more ways we can screw up our kids. Parents are always doing the best they can to be good parents. But the combination of their own psychological wounds, their lack of knowledge and parenting skills, and the pressures of their lives often converge and create behaviors that hurt us. It was not personal to you. They would have done the same thing to anyone who was in your shoes at the moment. The same is true for everyone else, all the time. Paul, you want to pick up where it says the forgiveness affirmation?
Actually, I've lost my place.
Oh, okay, I keep reading. Okay, the forgiveness affirmation. One final technique for helping you forgive is to recite this affirmation several times each day. I release myself from all the demands and judgments that have kept me limited. I allow myself to go free, to live in joy and love and peace. I allow myself to create fulfilling relationships, to have success in my life, to experience pleasure, to know that I'm worthy and deserve to have what I want. I now go free. In the process, I release all other people from any demands and expectations I place on them. I choose to be free. I allow others to be free. I forgive myself and I forgive them. And so it is. So we're on page 220 where it says, if they can do it, you can do it. In my search for inspiration, stories for the Chicken Soup for the Soul book, I have read many stories of forgiveness that let me know that human beings can forgive anything, no matter how tragic or brutal. In 1972, the Pulitzer Prize was awarded for a photographer of a young Vietnamese girl, her arms outstretched in terror and pain, running naked, her clothes having been seared from her body and screaming from her village, which had just been bombed with a napalm in the Vietnam War. That photo was reprinted thousands of times around the world and can still be found in high school history books. That day, Phan Thi Kim Plu received third-degree burns over more than half of her body. After 17 operations and 14 months of painful rehabilitation, Kim miraculously survived. Having overcome her painful past through a process of forgiveness, she is now a Canadian citizen, a goodwill ambassador of the United Nations Education and Scientific and Cultural Organization, and the founder of the Kim Foundation, which helps innocent victims of war. Everyone who has ever met Kim comments on the amazing quality of peace that radiates from her. In 1978, Simon Weston joined the Welsh Guards in Great Britain. As part of the Falkland Task Force, he was aboard the Sir Galahad when it was bombed by Argentine planes. His face was badly disfigured, as he suffered burns over 49% of his body. He has undergone several operations since the Fraternal Day and will still have to endure more. It would be easy for him to spend the rest of his life being bitter instead, he says, if you spend your life full of recrimination and bitterness, then you failed yourself, failed the surgeons and nurses and everyone else, because you aren't giving anything back. Hatred can consume you, and it is wasted emotion. Instead of drowning in a sea of bitterness, Simon has become an author, a motivational speaker, and the co-founder and vice president of Western Spirit, a nonprofit organization that has worked with tens of thousands of young people whose lifestyles reflect a poverty of aspiration in the United Kingdom. Like Simon and Ken, you can transcend and triumph too. Okay, let's stop here for a minute, Paula. Are you there, Paula?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, were you able to find it yet?
Yes.
Oh, you were? Okay, okay, cool. Can you pick up where it says face that, chapter 30, face what isn't working? But you know what, Paul, before we do that, let's do this for a minute. Let's talk about this, because this is going to really go into different subjects. So let's talk about the steps for forgiving. Paula, pick up. You can just pick up for a minute about this right here, because my husband is at my door. So if you could just pick up for 1 minute for me and recap on the 6 steps.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Okay, Paula, I am back. I'm back. I'm sorry about that. Are you okay over there?
Okay, I'm fine. Okay, the steps to forgiving, we're going to recap. Number 1 is to acknowledge your anger and resentment. Number 2 is to acknowledge the hurt and pain it created. Number 3 is to acknowledge the fears and self-doubts that it created. Number 4 is to own any part you may have played in letting it occur or letting it continue. Number 5 is to acknowledge what you were wanting that you didn't get, and then put yourself in the other person's shoes and try to understand where he or she was coming from at that time and what needs that person was trying to meet, however inelegantly by his or her behavior. And number 6 is let go and forgive that person.
Thank you very much, Paula, for jumping out and recapping on those. One of the things that, let's look at number 1, acknowledge your anger and resentment. A lot of people won't even acknowledge that they are angry or they resent someone. So the very, very first thing is you must acknowledge that you're even angry. You must say, you know what, I am really angry at that person. Just acknowledge it, and come out of denial, because a lot of people are in denial. They think that, by, saying that they're not, that it's going to help them, when actually it's hurting you. So it's really, really important that you acknowledge that you are angry. Kind of like, Paula, what I shared yesterday when I went to the Danny Johnson event. I had to acknowledge that even though I didn't think that I was, I had to dig really, really deep inside and find that hurt or, that resentment that was there. I'm not going to say I was angry, but I did resent the fact that I had to go through that, So that was one. Did you want to touch on that one right there, Paula?
Just kind of want to piggyback off of what you said about being angry and resenting and not acknowledging, because when you don't acknowledge that you are angry or resenting, you're actually, what is happening is that you're actually creating ill will within your own body.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we don't even recognize, why we're not feeling well, or, why we're sick, or what's going on with us illness-wise. It's because some of the time it's because we're holding on to anger and resentment, and we're not releasing it. We're not speaking it out, and we're not releasing it, because the only thing it does, is that it hurts us. It hurts the person who's holding the anger and the resentment. That other person may not even be aware that you're angry or holding resentment against them. So they're going on about their business thinking everything is okay, when actually everything is not okay, because the person who's holding that anger or resentment is suffering behind it. So yes, it is great to acknowledge that you're angry. It's okay to acknowledge that you're angry or even have resentment toward a person. Just get it out of your system.
Awesome. Paul, you know what? You brought up a great point, and I thank you for bringing that up, because, you had me reflecting back on some studying that I did, I think it was like last year, on emotions. And there are 2 main emotions that cause all types of illnesses, and that's anger and fear. And with the Fearless Online Entrepreneur, so it's kind of interesting how that one is there. But a lot of times I take a big interest in anger because of the fact that they coincide with one another. So if you are, if you are suffering like any type of health issues, I highly recommend that you go and grab a book by Louise Hayes. It's called Heal Your Body. And she deals a lot with emotions. And you'll find that anger is one of them. So guess what? If you start forgiving people, then the illnesses that you have, very well, I believe that they would go away. I really believe that. I got that kind of belief that I believe that they would just leave if you deal with the root of the problem. We always have to go to the root of the problem before we can move forward into where we want to go. Awesome. Thank you very much, Paula. That was a good tip.
You're welcome.
Okay. And then the next one is acknowledge the hurt and the pain that it created. A lot of times we don't want, our ego gets in the way, and we don't want to acknowledge that, this really hurts. This really makes me feel, we don't want to acknowledge it. But it's not until we come into full acknowledgement that we are able to move forward. And I don't know, Paul, did you want to touch on number 2 at all?
No.
Okay. 3, acknowledge the fears and self-doubts that it created. A lot of times when we are not forgiving, there are some fears that will take place, or some self-doubt. And again, until we acknowledge it, we are going to be in the same place. And I go to that. So we're all in the acknowledgement stage. Now we're going to go into step 4 is own any part you may have played in letting it occur or letting it continue. So now this is very interesting, and I find this especially when you are married or you're in, you have children. If you're in a relationship with someone that you're with constantly every single day, this is really powerful. Own any part that you may have played in letting it occur or letting it continue. A lot of times, what happened is, to me, I believe that it takes two people to make an argument. It takes two people to do anything. And a lot of times all we want to do is blame the other person, but we don't want to look at what we did wrong. And I find this, I see this a lot in marriage. A person always wants to point the finger at the other person, but they don't want to look at what they did in the process. And then sometimes my husband says, you're always right. I'm like, no, I'm not. I acknowledge, when I do something wrong or whatever. But I am strong-willed, so I do have to sit back and really think about it. Okay, yeah, and then I have to go back and apologize. So, it's so powerful. It's a powerful process because it helps your relationship to grow to a greater height, a deeper depth than it would have in the past, or because of the fact that you are willing to admit which part you played in the whole process. Paula, do you want to pick up on anything else on that?
I just want to say it is it's great to acknowledge your own part in whatever the whatever has taken place that has made you angry or resentful. Whatever situation that has made you angry or resentful with another person. It is always good to sit back and analyze and just do a replay in your mind and ask yourself, what part did I play in this? What is it that I could have done better? If it was something I said or, did, then I need to acknowledge what I did and actually go back to that person and acknowledge that and say, I'm sorry. It's okay, again, to say, I'm sorry. A lot of times people have a lot of pride, and I'm just calling it like it is, to always want to play the blame game, when in actuality it could be, the person who's angry or resentful had a major part in whatever happened. So I just think people need to sit back and analyze what it is that they could have done differently to have gotten a different outcome.
Awesome, Paula. Thank you very much. That was a good nugget. That was a really, really good nugget. So moving forward to number 5 is acknowledge what you were wanting that you didn't get. And then put yourself in the other person's shoes and attempt to understand where he or she was coming from at that time and what needs the person was trying to meet. However, inelegantly by his or her own behavior. This right here, this particular one right here helps. What I'll say is it causes me to reflect on something that my husband and I would do a lot, and that is, we try to seek from look at the other person's perspective, try to come from where he's coming at. What is he wanting? And then at the same time, we're looking at each other's wants and needs in the entire process. And a lot of times what happens is people don't want to look at the other person's needs. They just want to look at themselves. And that's it. Well, I just needed this. This is just, you did this to me. But you're not thinking about maybe what this other person is going through. Maybe this other person is going through some really, really hard times. And they're not thinking in the same place that you're at. But instead you get offended. Instead, and that's why I always like to say, that's why the Bible tells us don't become easily offended, because, when you're easily offended, it keeps you from, it causes you to have unforgiveness in your heart. So truly you want to start looking at the other person's view as well as your own. Paul, you want to add to that?
No, you said it very well.
Okay. And the last one is let go and forgive the person. And they may not say sorry to you. They may not come to you and say, I'm sorry for doing whatever. It's okay. Just let it go, because forgiveness is not for them. It's for you. It's to help you be free. It's to help you so that you can go forward in your life. So I just want to encourage any of you that are listening, to follow these 6 steps of forgiveness. write your letter, and we share with you blank hurt me by, and write that letter, right? And make sure you do your forgiveness affirmations. They don't have to be there, but you can just go ahead and go through that process so that you can be free and you can go forward in your life. Paula, do you want to add anything to that before we close this hangout out?
Yes, I'll just add this one thing, just to remind the people who are looking and listening to this hangout that remember that this is a process. Sometimes it may not happen overnight,
Mm-hmm.
but if you continue to, read books like these and be involved with people of like mind, you will get to a point where you can absolutely let it go and forgive, because you'll always remember that it's hurting you and not the other person. And so again, it is a process, but you will get there, because I went through the process and I had to get there as well.
Wow, that was a good nugget, Paul. How did I miss that one? I'm so glad you was here to help me with that one, because it's true. A lot of times people want you to forgive, right? I remember my husband used to, like my mother, when I was raised, I was always taught, forgive, forgive. I mean, it was embedded in my DNA. So it's not difficult for me to forgive. I can just easily, you can send to me and I'm forgive, but I'm not going to be a fool. I'm not going to let you keep doing, a certain thing to me. But I do easily forgive. But that's not easy for everyone else. And my husband, you would always say, you need to let me have time to process this. And I'm thinking to myself, why we can't do this now? We should be able to do this, But I had to learn that, his time, my timing was not his time, and his timing was not mine. So I think that was an awesome point. But key crucial part is to put that out there. And I think the affirmations will help your process to take place a lot quicker. Because, one of the things that I recently learned too is our subconscious mind, like a lot of people do like hypnosis, stuff like that. But I don't do it, but I'm just saying that that's why they do it, because what it is something speaking in their subconscious mind. So if you don't do hypnosis, you can do something like, saying affirmations every day. And that's what I do. I do affirmations. And affirmations actually begin to change your thinking process, your subconscious mind. So definitely something that you can consider doing, and I would highly recommend doing affirmations for anything that you want in your life. Wow, awesome hangout. Thank you very much. If you came on, please leave us your comments, share your thoughts, your ideas. We have a question box open, so if you have a question, you want to leave a comment, please let us know. We are here. And if you would like to be a part of our hangout, our panel, we're always open to helping individuals move forward in their life and in their business. So if you are interested, please inbox us, let us know, and we'll be glad to add you into the panel and to a part of our hangout. Take care for now. You have a great day. We'll see you Monday, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.